What's going on, guys? Welcome to Cruising with Kevin. Today we're going to be working on my son's square body here. It is a 1976 C10 square body here, Silverado, I guess it is.
Yep, Silverado.
Yeah, it's Silverado. So he's done a bunch of work to it already. We're going to put some exhaust on it so we can actually drive it around and just see how it's working here. But we'll show you that in a minute here. So let's get to it. Welcome to TK's Garage 405. Check out the new hoopty. It's a little cooler today. We'll see if this thing fires up. It's got a Holly. So Cam's got a little rumble to her there. Uh-oh. It's not even been a minute yet and we already have problems.
I think it might have leaked all the transmission fluid.
Oh, is he low?
Didn't want to go in reverse.
Oh. So you can see it looks good under here, but we'll explain that when we get into the garage.
Need a funnel.
All right, I can tell you my portion of what I know about this thing. He's actually done the bulk of the work to it, which is pretty super impressive, being he's only 18. So this is the engine out of my 85 Camaro there. You guys saw when I was doing my LS swap there. It's a 400 small block, bored 20 over, so it's a 404 small block Chevy basically. Stock bottom end, so it's got stock crank, stock rods, flat top pistons, 2-valve relief. It has the things he's added to it, I guess. I guess it had a Comp 286H cam that was in there when it was in the car yet. We were having a lot of valve train issues, so I ended up finding a brand new set of these Edelbrock E Street heads for I think what, $600 or $700?
$700.
Yeah, it was like a really good deal. They're a really nice head. They flow really well. He put an Edelbrock Performer RPM on it there that he had bought. Same with the carburetor. It's a 750 Holly double pumper that he picked up from a local shop that rebuilds them here. Added a bunch of the little things, obviously, like the fuel lines and the fuel rail. It's got the Holly 110 gallon per hour mechanical fuel pump that was on my car yet. He bought a set of these. They weren't even from eBay. They were actually just from some random site there. These ceramic coated headers. They actually look really good, but they didn't fit very good. So like how they bolted up and stuff, he had to Dremel out a couple of the holes and where the water jacket was there to be able to get that to fit. So that was a couple problems with that. So that's what I kind of know about it. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the bulk of what I know about it there. Okay, we'll try this again. All right, so he rebuilt the transmission in this thing. Sounds good. Sounds really good. Okay, so what did you do to this thing yourself?
All right, so during the summer, we were having problems with the ignition control module actually burning out pretty much, once a week, I would say, leaving me stranded everywhere. So we got pretty good at changing those on the side of the road, but I ended up rewiring it. I did a painless performance, pretty much a fuse box. It's a universal kit that I kind of just threw into the dash and then wired it up during the summer. I threw a new radiator in it, changed all the hoses, obviously. Just basic tune-up stuff like that, just to keep it going. At school we built a Turbo 350. It's a long shaft. It has a hardened input shaft, hardened spray braces. It has red clutches in it, and then we did a B&M street strip shift kit to it as well. So should hold up pretty good to it as well, and pretty much it.
Okay, so like the rest of this truck here, you can see it's got the wheels on it. Those are basically like suburban wheels, factory style wheels or whatever. He put a monster tack in it there. I was teasing him about. It's got, you can see, he changed the front and rear bumpers to some nice chrome ones there. They don't seem to just, I don't know, they always seem to just get a little bit of rust right away. It's got like the tubular style grill that you can just get from Amazon. That cleaned it up quite a bit. He put some like green halo headlights in it there. It needs paint now. That's probably the next big thing in it. But so the history of this truck is it's a one owner. Before we got it, there was a one owner, 65 or 62,000 original miles on it, all original. It actually came from Saskatchewan, Canada. We bought it in Alberta. The guy's son had bought it from his auction sale when his dad sold out his farm, and yeah, basically he just never drove it, and so it sat there from 2004 until we bought it around 2018, I think, 19, something like that. He didn't even have a license yet, actually, so this is his first truck. The body's gotten significantly worse since we've had it. You can see the back there; it has a dent in it from the axle blowing out on the highway there. So it's actually got two. I think you forgot to mention it's him. He put a full new. You put the whole new rear in it, right?
Yeah. So the rear out of it's a 10 bolt out of 87 half-ton truck. It's got 373 gears in it. We did a Yukon locker in it, just like a little lunchbox locker. And then
I guess yeah, it had So it's 373 gears. It's a 10 bolt actually.
10 bolt rear.
It was a 12 bolt originally. That's what blew apart there. And then yeah, he just put a new drive shaft on it as well, because what had happened there, why this truck's actually kind of apart right now, or why it just got put back together. When he put the drive shaft back in with the new transmission with the old rear there was
it was like an inch too long, and it was riding into the transmission. And I didn't really pay attention to it. Should have known better, but it kind of slammed into the transmission and cracked the bell housing in half. So that's kind of how all this started to begin with.
Yeah, so basically the 12 bolt must be a little bit like smaller, like shorter, must need a shorter drive shaft or something. I didn't know that actually, but so it was just enough that it ended up busting that case in half on the transmission. So just some stuff like that, but whatever. He's got a new transmission now, brand new motor pretty much. So yeah, sounds pretty good. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to put some purple Horny mufflers on it, just so we can drive it around, cruise it a little bit and see what it runs like. Yesterday it was pretty soft on timing. I advanced the timing a bunch there. It sounds a lot better now. It sounds like it's got just a little bit, something's not quite right there, but I think it's maybe fouled some plugs, so I might pull a couple plugs and see what they look like too. So we're going to do that right now.
Hey, it came with extra collector plates too.
So he's got all the collector stuff and everything that he got with the headers. So those, like I said, they weren't from eBay. They were just from some random site and they didn't fit.
I think it was A-Team Performance, actually. That sounds right to me.
So he made them work or whatever. It probably wasn't the greatest fitment, but they were super cheap, like $130 I think he paid for them too, so it's pretty hard to argue with that. So this is just a set of purple Horny mufflers. They just bolt right to the collectors here. I bought them from Summit Racing, brand new. I've never run them yet. I was saving them for a square body build, but we figured we'd just throw them on there. We're probably going to build him some exhaust, but this is what we got laying around for now. We just want to go take it for a cruise here, so we're going to put these on. Like I said, they were just on clearance, so I bought them for cheap. I bought a whole bunch of square body parts that I hope to put into another square body one day, that just a little budget build to show you guys, but got the collectors from the kit here and everything, so we're going to throw those in now. All right, so he's putting those mufflers on it there. I'm going to start pulling spark plugs here, taking a look at them, because it seemed like it was running really rich to me at idle. So I got my carb from the same guy. He definitely knows what he's doing, but it's hard to just guesstimate an engine or whatever, like pretty much without being there to tune it. So I'm thinking it's running rich, probably the same as mine. Oh, see, there you go. And I don't know, it's hard to tell probably to look at it, but there's hardly any gap in that. So, but it is soaked. Kind of show you there. She's soaked. Looks like it needs a little more gap to it here. So I'll put some gap in it and then I'll probably check them all, I guess. All right, so he was just trying to put that on there, and you can see where the end of the collector is and where the transmission cross member is. It's not going to fit, so we might have to actually put some real exhaust on this thing. We're going to see if we got any stuff in our... I've got a whole bunch of used parts, plus I have a whole brand new kit of this 3-inch pipe here. See if we have something that we can make work. All right, we're just seeing, we got some scrap pieces laying around here. We're just seeing what we kind of need to do to fit this all. It's just a little, well, I guess, yeah, that's close there. We'd have to cut it right off after the bend and then put the collector on.
You don't just have to cut it right there.
Yeah.
And just...
Or probably a little farther because we're going to need room for the collector. But that would be close. So, let's go see what we got for our kit here. All right, I bought this kit from Amazon. It's just a universal exhaust kit with some adapters and things like that in it. So we'll see if we can make it work for his truck here. They're pretty cheap, like around $100, maybe a little less even. And then I bought some couplers for it. So hopefully we can put something together here to work, and then they'll actually have some real exhaust on it. So here's the problem we're having. We're trying to get that to just basically have like a little bit of a downturn before it gets to the cross member. And then we do have some other pieces that we can use for it. But the 3-inch stuff is too big. It hits before it actually gets turning down. So we got a 2.5 that we had laying around here that we might be able to make work. That looks like it might work, eh?
Yeah. This is how you
getting
do
our
exhaust.
new exhaust fitted with duct tape.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Sponsored by duct tape. Oh yeah, that. So you guys can see there, he's like trying to fit it down there, and there's that cross member. So we think we got it about right here. So I'm gonna have to probably do some welding of pieces here and get it together. What was supposed to be simple here ends up, of course, not being simple because it wants to hit the cross member. So we're not sure if it's because other headers possibly go lower, because I have another set here from Summit that I just bought for a future project, and they look like a different design, but not necessarily lower. We're not too sure, but we're busting out the old flux core welder here. We're gonna have to do a little welding. We got some old pieces of pipe here. We'll get that all figured out and then decide what we're gonna put on it for a muffler. So that's kind of the plan here. We'll see if we can get something together here good enough to drive it. I wanted to see what it was gonna be like with just the purple Hornies on it by themselves, but they won't fit the way it is there. So we'll make something work here. He's gonna need exhaust anyways. We were just gonna do that for a quick little rip around today and then see, but we'll actually try to put some real exhaust and see how it goes. All right, our garage is a disaster here, like usual. We're just cleaning everything up here. We're trying to bolt down a vise here so we actually have something to hold the exhaust to while we're trying to weld it, because our garage is ridiculous here. So that's what we're working on here, just getting it figured out, and then we're gonna try to do a little bit of tack welding here. All right, so we're gonna try to cut the welds off this old one because we might need some pieces that have lips on them. So we're hoping we can use most of this like chrome stuff that we had laying around. So we'll see what we can come up with here, but we're going to try to grind this off so that we can just reuse this collar here. So that's the plan here.
Where's
All
it?
right.
That's pretty close.
We just gave it a little tap because this thing wasn't perfect in here. So we're trying to make it so that it doesn't hit the cross member, and we're kind of working with pieces that we had. That is really close. I think that'll work.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Put the flange there.
I don't have a flange.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good though. Yeah, I think we do that. So we're gonna have to weld this, and then we have to weld two pieces together, and we suck at welding. So
You suck at welding.
okay, one of us has a welding course, but we don't have a good welder. That's the truth. All right, guys. So I don't claim to be a good welder, but like anything else, if you're gonna get better at something, you got to practice. We don't use this welder very much, anyways. I just have like a little 110 flux core welder that I bought in Canada at Princess Auto, which is basically the U.S. equivalent of like Harbor Freight, so it's just a super cheap welder. Like I said, flux core always splatters and things like that anyways, and I'm not very great at it anyways. So, but for what we're doing here, I think I can make it work. So I'm going to play around here, see if I can lay some welds in this thing, get it good enough that we can get some exhaust together here. I was hoping my son would have done the hard one. This will be the easy one because there's an actual collar here, but this piece here is going to be a little more difficult where it's got to go to that other piece there. So, but we'll play around, whatever. It's basically a more or less a free exhaust kit here just to goof around. So we'll see if we can make something work here. Looks like it's getting penetration, so keep going at this. I might just put a few tacks on it and then roll it around here a little bit. There's some gaps in it, so of course it's not going to weld that great in those places. Put a couple first on the places that aren't. Just put our super cheap that just was sitting on the bench here. We put this vise up here, just had something to clamp the exhaust with here, but I know I do have a real one somewhere. I don't know where it is though, so this is going to be really hard to do. That other joint though, because it's going to have to be fully sealed, so do the best I can. Just kind of adjusting the wire feed here a little bit as I go. Do not take any welding advice from me. Not too bad. For me, this is as good as it's probably going to ever get. I actually could probably weld a little bit on the inside too if I really wanted to. I'd actually do that on this one. I think my mask isn't working. I'm going to go grab a different mask because I'm pretty sure it is not. Because I'm getting arc flashed here. Grabbed a different helmet here. Seems to be working better. So this is where it's starting to be a problem because it's not super tight. So of course you can't get a good weld in there. There's just a couple little spots that aren't perfectly tight because of this fitting there, but it'll work. This is like probably the most, well, the next piece will be the most important piece to not falling apart. So we'll see how I can make out here. The rest of this is pretty tight, so should be okay. I welded a little bit on the inside. I think it actually welded better on the inside than the outside. So continue on here. To be honest, I'm surprised this welder can almost burn through on low. I've got like the speed turned right down and the temperature as low as it goes, so I'm actually kind of surprised about that. Let's do a little bit on the inside here just because. I'll show you guys. Nothing too exciting here, but I should probably do a little bit more up here at the top here, but you can see as I got farther into it, it was getting a little bit better, but I'm just not the greatest welder anyway, so. But it, my inside welds are actually better. That's so dumb. The splatter is the worst part about flux, but I think it'll be okay. So now this is going to be the hard part of. All right, I finished welding that coupler up, but I had the truck loaded up from the weekend here and just getting rid of junk out of my garage and spare parts and just everything under the sun. So got to take a trip to the landfill. I actually got this truck for sale. I kind of almost hesitant about selling it because it's been super reliable as a backup truck, but now we have 10 vehicles registered right now. Our insurance is like $1,200 a month, so probably time to downsize a little bit, get onto some other vehicles and projects and things like that. You can look around the yard. We got a lot. This isn't even half of them, but yeah. So anyways, I'm going to take this to the landfill, and then my son found a 3-inch basically flared to flared coupler, so I think I can use that in some of that piping to make something else work there. Okay, there hasn't been much to see here. I ran to the landfill, got that all emptied out, but my son grabbed a couple of these straight through couplers here. So basically, a couple of these straight through couplers here. So had to cut a couple more pieces of pipe here. I ended up having a couple extra fittings that I didn't think I had. So with those and everything, I had just enough to kind of make it around the curve of the transmission cross member there. So Now I'm gonna weld up these pieces here, probably just tack weld them and make sure they're good before I go ham and actually tighten everything up. But I think that's probably gonna work for this side, and I think the other side will be a lot more straightforward because the cross member's higher there. So we actually could just put a muffler right off of the header there, but we're obviously not gonna do that now since we've gone into putting exhaust on this side. So probably just get them close. It's not gonna be perfect, it's just cheap. It's probably at least $1,000 for exhaust for this thing. So this will just be this. We're probably gonna put one piece of straight pipe behind this and then throw the mufflers on behind that, and it should be good to go. Suppose I'll be getting all sorts of phone calls from welding companies trying to hire me after they see this, but not too bad, honestly. Again, this is a FluxCore 110, basically Harbor Freight welder. It's a Princess Auto Power Fist one that I've had for like 15 years or better, probably. Actually, we've got Hobart wire in it now, which actually I never used it enough before to really get rid of the wire that came with it. But now that I have, it actually does do a little bit better. So anyways, whatever, it is what it is. It should seal. I'm gonna try to bolt this up now and then see what I need for the next piece. All right, this isn't very exciting here, but this is what we got now. So I'm basically gonna weld a collector on this end of this pipe and then this end of this pipe. You can see this end's flared. So I just slipped a collector into it. This end is, I used one of the couplers that he had bought. So this will give me my passenger side. I want to put this one in first so that when I put the other side in, I can cut it to roughly the same length so that basically the exhaust dumps in the same spot and it's not like one's way at the back and one's in the middle or something. So at least they kind of match up lengthwise or whatever. And then I want to do that before I put the other side on. So I'm going to do this first, weld these all up and everything. I'm missing one full collector, so I'm probably gonna have to take this one and just put it in the end. It's like I don't know if it was a 3-inch. No, it looks like it was like a 3 to 2.5 it looked like, and they cut it down, so it's like almost a 3. It's probably like 2 3/4, so good enough. But this is just to dull it down so it'll drive. So I'm gonna finish this up, and yeah, it's taking some time for sure. All right, I thought I would weld this side in first so I had an equal length to measure to on the other side, but here's where China caused me a problem, and this is kind of a pretty big problem here. You can see where it comes off the headers, it's actually angled downwards. So when I made this straight pipe here thinking that it would just be level like it should be, it is not. So it's got a wicked bend downwards, and I didn't really realize that until I went to bolt it up. It's hard to tell under here because it's right at this curve, so when you're staring at it, it looks straight, but when you put the pipe on it, it is not straight. So I think I'm gonna take another one of those couplers and just curve it up in the coupler to basically straighten this out here, because it's gonna have to curve up a little bit, so I'm gonna have to cut it again probably. This is ridiculous. I don't know how else to really make this fit now. That is obnoxious. Look how much that's off. Like, even if I push it as high up as I can, that's as far as it'll go. Like, how is that possible that it could be that far out? So that's probably telling me the other one's similar to that. That's why I'm having trouble fitting it too. Annoying. Well, we did not when we bought them. Like I said, I just put the ones on my Camaro, and they're from eBay, and they fit like perfect pretty much, so I couldn't really complain about it other than the crappy gaskets that came with it. But these are not even close, so now I'm gonna have to do some figuring here. All right, hopefully I can get back at this tomorrow. I built that whole passenger side because it was just a straight piece, but it's like pointed, like almost touching the ground. So I'm gonna get another coupler there. I'll cut the pipe and I'll put a little bit of a, because there's just gonna be some swivel in it, so I'll go right at the collector and then I'll pull it up and I'll weld it like that, which is really stupid. You should never have to do that. I'm not a professional exhaust guy, but like it's ridiculous. Like it's like way far off. And the only way to make that is to have like basically, you know, like a 20-degree sweep or something. Well, like they don't even make something like that. So with a bunch of other monkeying around, I probably could do it. I could take like a 2.5 or a 3 to 2.5 collector and use that as kind of a swivel too, but I might as well just wait tomorrow morning and get another coupler for it. I'll try to do that. And like I said, I just want to make sure that the mufflers are in line. So I think it's going to be pretty good though. Actually, it feels pretty solid and everything like that. The pipe seems okay for what it paid for it or whatever. So I looked at the thing there. It's like 80 bucks right now. So not too bad. There's kits with more pipes in them. I thought I'd only need a couple pieces out of it for my car, just to basically put a couple pieces of pipe and then mufflers, maybe like spin techs or something that are really small in there. That was why I bought it, but whatever. We used it for his. I'll just get another kit. No big deal. So yeah, I guess that's probably it for today. I'll come back tomorrow and hopefully I can finish this up. But for now, see if this thing fires up. Sounds it's loud. Ugh, it's loud. It's not as bad inside the truck though. Close the window. There we go. I can actually hear the cam. Oh, it does sound pretty good. It's choppy. He's used to pumping the gas all the time, so he's pumping the pump shot, so that could be part of the reason that it's like kind of flooding. Anyways, I'm gonna go park this thing. Explain to us what just happened here.
Well, it broke in shipping.
What broke in shipping? That's supposed to be a window for that truck. All right, it's a few days later. We're coming back to this. I had to run out and work, do a few things there. So I think we got the passenger side just about wrapped up here. There was a whole bunch of the same. So we didn't show you that, but I'll show you what that looks like. So there we go so far. We got, I think that's probably, I don't know what it is, probably a 14-inch purple Horny on there with a bolt-on type collector. And then we've got 3-inch basically Mandrel bent. Well, this is all straight, so I had to weld that. We did have to do some, that was the worst of my welds right at the actual collector there, because the flange is so thick and it wasn't welding very good. So I took a 2.5 to 3 and cut it down, because it's 3 right at the collector there, and basically made it like a pivot so it's level. So now we're going to finish up the other side there and bolt it all together. Then we'll probably have to put one more hanger on that side and one on the other side for the muffler there, and then we should be good to go. All right, this is gonna be the first fire up with both of the mufflers on this thing. Oh yeah. Man, that sounds good. Alright, you guys have seen us use this stuff in our videos before, but I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just like their stuff. It's called AIM Lube. This is just their basically universal one. Comes in a little spray bottle. You can see it's just their multi-purpose stuff there. So works really good. He's gonna lube up his doors here because they were kind of squeaking. Ooh, painful. Get a little bit more there. Yeah. It's probably right in the main. Does sound pretty good, but it shifts like super late. It's hard shifting because it has a shift kit in it, but it's like feels like it should be shifting early. Like you can hear it. Oh, there we go. That's better. And it kind of really like clunked when I went into gear there. I'm not sure what that was about. So we can hear it, but it sounds decent. Sounds alright actually. Definitely can tell with shorter tires and 373s it runs out of gears early. It used to have 308s in it, I think it was. So it's 2500 and we're probably only going about, I don't know, 55 maybe. Just guessing. The speedometer doesn't work. I don't really know why. A nice crack in the window here. Yeah. Truck definitely needs a few things still. Nothing too crazy anyways, but just slowly getting things ironed out here. It was running really rich this morning at idle, so I went and kind of played around with that a little bit. All right, so just trying to wrap up some final little things here. These valves keep going out of adjustment. I don't know why. And another thing we noticed right away, I'll show you this. So he put it together when I was gone and he drove it a little bit, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's actually wear. There's wear in the tips there already. Like he went to the car wash and back, so that's like a couple miles, like probably like drove it like 5 miles, or at least that's what he said. So I don't know, I'm not sure if he was bagging on it or whatever, but something's obviously wrong there. A couple of the, sorry guys, a couple of the lifters keep coming loose now, like the rockers, they keep coming loose, so I'm just trying to adjust them while it's running here, which I don't really like to do because it gets oil everywhere, but I'm trying to see if that would be a better solution here. I took it and warmed it up, and then of course it got super rattly right away, so that's what I'm doing now. Well, apparently Noah's not going to be off until like 5, and it gets dark at like, or 5:05 here, so we're going to go take its maiden voyage here. Hopefully we got it all ironed out, get a little bit of feel and make sure everything's okay, but I readjusted the valves there a little bit, and then I guess we'll see. Hopefully that's the end of it. Well, in typical first drive fashion, we didn't make it back. I think it's just out of gas. Feels like the tank's empty. He said he put 7 gallons in it, so I'm not sure why it'd be out of gas already. All I did was idled it a little bit. I don't know. Whatever, but so we're gonna wait for our son to bring us a little bit of gas here, and then I'll have to go down to the gas station, put some more in it, I guess. And it is rattling like crazy, like bad. So I don't know. Have to probably adjust the driver's side. It sounded like it was mostly just the driver's side this time, which is weird because it was quiet earlier, so I don't know if he just didn't adjust that side right either. I don't know exactly what's going on. It's definitely got a little bit of blow by out the breather here. When we pulled this out of my car, I had kind of said to my son, like, I think we should put piston rings in it, because the guy that had my car briefly said it was like overheating. And I didn't know if that meant like he would just got a little bit warm and then he shut it off, or he actually burned it down or whatever. But I'm kind of wondering now if it maybe took some tension out of the rings or whatever, and that's what's going on, but not 100% sure. But there's definitely some combination of problems happening here. So I want to do a burnout, but I can't because I don't want to break something. This amazing cable connection here is loose, so now it keeps wanting to stall out on us once we finally got it started after putting gas in it. And I don't have any wrenches with me. I don't know why. I should, because every time we drive this truck it leaves us stranded. Oh. Annoying. All right, guys, wasn't a very good first successful run. There's lots to be done here yet. I'm not sure if I'll get much else done in this video here, but wanted to go and kind of burn it around pretty good, but I didn't want to hurt anything. Ran out of gas there. Had to put some regular gas in it. It sounds like it's ticking like crazy. Just hobbled it home. Also need to adjust the valves. It's like won't even idle now. Sounds like the valves on the driver's side are just hammering. So not sure what's up with that. The battery cable connection is really bad. There's just a bunch of little odds and ends things, and I'm out of time for that. So thanks for watching again, guys. We're gonna get back to this thing, try to figure out what these little gremlins are, but appreciate you guys watching. It's been a fun little project here. Like I said, my son put the engine and transmission in it. We put it all together. Yeah, just kind of been a little bit another father-son one from the last one we did that was the same truck as this. I'd like to build another one here yet, but that's gonna probably do it for this video. So thanks for watching again. Make sure you like, subscribe, share me around on social media. Cruising with Kevin on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I am TK's Garage 405. Thanks for watching again, guys.